You are an Olympic gold medalist. Talk about you being an Olympic gold medalist.
Well, I saw this guy and he was really cute. There's a male perspective of polygamy and then there's a female perspective of polygamy.
My father, like I said, has several wives and he was able to take care of all these wives at the same time.
Therapy is white, European-centered based. How could we relate to that?
What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of Three Tribesmen. Today, I'm here with my boy, Timmy Teo,
Yep.
Oni, and we have a guest, Jeneba Young.
Yes.
Our very, very first lady on the show. Wow, how do you feel?
Welcome.
I'm excited. Thank you guys for having me.
We're excited. We're talking. We're like, we need some female energy on this show, man.
sure.
Come on, like we're excited about this episode.
They also the people in the comments was telling us we need some female energy on it too. So,
Well,
I
here
am
you have
here
it.
to deliver.
yeah, you gotta deliver.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, the reason, your background. Tell us a little bit about the reason we called you to be on the show and everything, so that way we can give them a gist of what's to come on this episode.
And where you from?
Talk
Like,
loud.
I am from San Jose, California, but my family is from Sierra Leone. West Africa in the building. What's up?
There you go.
What else did you ask? My memory is like a school.
Why you here?
No worries. The reason we called you, your expertise, the reason why we called you.
we want to know about her.
We want to know about
Yeah.
her first.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Okay, so a little bit about me. I grew up in San Jose, California, moved to Tennessee to pursue track and field because I was offered a full ride scholarship. And then after that, I went to Texas A&M because Tennessee just was not it for me. And then I moved to LA to pursue professional track and field. And then after that, I stayed and retired and then became a marriage and family
hold on.
therapist.
She's being modest. She's being modest.
For sure.
What did you do in track and field? You are an Olympic gold medalist. Talk
Yeah.
about
Oh, my
you
goodness.
being an Olympic gold medalist, because that's one of the
Come on
hardest
this show and
feats.
try to be humble.
Right.
Come on now.
Well, I'm not trying to be humble. This is really this is me.
Olympic, come on.
Yeah.
Olympic gold medalist,
happened.
world
That was-
champion, NCAA team champion, right?
All of that.
Yeah.
We're gonna dive into that. I really want to know about her like upbringing, like starting off, like how you ended up. You're from West Africa.
Yeah.
All of us are. Everyone on the show already knows where we are from and how we all got to be in this lovely country. How did you end up here?
In California? I mean, like in Los Angeles?
How did your family end up? How did you guys migrate out here?
Okay, so there's a huge Sierra Leonean community in San Jose. So
Okay.
somewhere in between that, my auntie came, she brought her brother, which is my father, and he came, and then he brought my mom, and she came.
Like a typical story.
Yeah.
Typical story,
Right.
yeah. So
Okay.
that's how we ended up in San Jose. But there was a there's a huge population in San Jose. But there's also a really big population in the East Coast too.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all have any family in Maryland?
For sure.
I was born in
100%.
DC.
I was about to say.
Exactly. So like the other part of my family is in Maryland.
Okay.
Majority though. My mom is one of 24. So
Whoa.
We got.
we'll talk about polygamy. Polygamy is the reason.
Hey, it's normal.
Yeah.
So let's just say about three of her siblings live in America. The rest are
wow.
in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the Sierra Leone America part.
Okay.
What brought me to Los Angeles? It's a long story, but long story short, you guys know how African parents, they always try to push their kids to be a lawyer, a doctor,
Engineer.
an accountant.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, one day this coach realized that I have great potential and I can be an amazing track and field athlete. So when my parents found out she can be an amazing track and field athlete, of course they're going to say, well, we want her to be famous and we want her to have a lot of money. So they didn't push like the law school on me. They pushed track and field on me.
Really? I'm
They
shocked.
pushed
We
it
are
on me.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm even curious to know how you knew you could run track.
Well, I saw this guy and he was really cute
Okay. Hey, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
in middle school, and I was like, he's really cute, so I'm gonna join the track team. And I joined the track team.
That's
And,
Shout out to dude.
right.
Yeah.
I didn't get his
He-
attention, but I got a lot of other attention.
Whoever that is, you bred Olympian basically. You basically, created Olympian right here. So
Shout
that's
out to you.
yeah.
I don't even know, dude.
All right.
So they really pushed me to run track and field, and I did not want to run. I hated track. It was not what I wanted. I wanted to play volleyball, but I also wanted to go to college. I made a promise to my mom that I was going to go to college, so I pursued track and field in spite of how I felt. And I got a full scholarship to Tennessee, did not like Tennessee at all. Then I transferred to Texas A&M.
Talking to another Texan here.
I loved Texas A&M.
Speak.
However, I got tired of it because it was so black and white. And you know, us from California, we have so many different cultures. It's so diverse.
pot.
Right.
It's a melting pot.
Yeah.
Texas was not that at all. And after a while, I just got kind of bored. But then I also, I went pro, and Bradley helped me with that as well. I became a professional athlete. He helped me find my agent. And he really, really encouraged me in that whole process because it was really, really hard. When I left, my coach got upset with me, and he pretty much kicked me out of Texas A&M. So you remember that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So that's great. I mean, I'm glad I was able to assist, and you've been very, great to me and stuff like that. I've never seen you ever been mad. Like, I've never seen anything, like, I can't think of anybody said a negative thing about you, never been mad. Like, you're just an all-around great person. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to get you on the show, was not only for you to tell your stories, but we wanted to talk about your transition from the sport of track and field. You're in the Olympics and everything, traveling the world, to two different things, right? The most important title, being a mom, right? And then also your career, like transitioning, because so many people identities wrapped up into the sport, where once they're done, they have no idea what they want to do, right? That is their identity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to throw out no names. Like, there's some football players right now that are retired, and they don't, like, bro, you're 50. Why are you still trying to talking about you want to come out and play and all this stuff? So talk about your transition to not only becoming a mom, but also finding your second career in marriage and family therapy.
Okay. So as stated before, track and field was never my thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a person who ran track, but I wasn't even a lover of sports. So when after a while I was like, I'm tired of running, and it's the same hamster wheel. You train really hard, you work your ass off. Can I say ass?
Yeah.
You work your ass off. You get there, you don't quite make it. Next year is going to be better. I'm gonna keep on. And I was like, this is boring. It's too much, and it's way too much effort that I'm putting in. So I switched coaches because I thought I had a better shot with a different coach. But before I go to that, I know Bradley wants me to talk about the infamous 2012 situation. I became an Olympic gold medalist.
That's dope.
In 2012 Olympics.
Should have brought that.
I promise you. I just wanted to touch it.
Now, I wanted to bring that up because of the politics.
There were so
much politics. I went up there to Oregon to support her during the trials. At the time I was interning. I was in grad school. I was interning at the sports agency. I was interning at the sports agency, and I went up there to support her. And she ran 100 meters. She finished if anybody knows how track works, top three you get a spot in the Olympics in that event. She finished third, right? Did her victory lap and everything like that. They came back later on because they had this whole campaign for an athlete that I would not mention. They had a whole campaign. They're pushing this specific athlete, and she does her victory lap. We're happy. We're celebrating. She probably called her parents. I don't know. I'm sure she did. Happy. And they came back that day and said, oh, no, it's a tie. They got to do a runoff the next day. And I've been watching this track since 1996. I think the first time I watched it, I've never seen that before in my life. But we all know why. It's politics and money's being pushed a certain way, so they decided to make this decision. And to me, in my opinion, I think that's when you kind of really was like, this thing ain't, I don't know about this sport, because politics, man. It was straight up politics that I'd never seen. So if you want to touch on that, like, how did you feel? How'd your parents feel about that situation? And, how'd you overcome it?
Mentally, yeah.
Mentally, it was a struggle. It was a lot of politics. And I was very, what they say, wet behind the ears when it comes to like injustices like that. How I overcame it, I just went with peace. And I always tell people, like, I made the decision that brought me a lot of peace. And people are like, well, how could that decision bring you peace? I chose not to run. I didn't want to be involved in anything that was confusion, that was chaos, that was conflict. And that whole situation was confusion, chaos, and conflict. And at the time, I was like really big in Jesus Christ. And I told myself, like, if God has something for me, there's not going to be anything confusing or convoluted. There's not going to be any manipulation. There's not going to be any corruption involved in that. And that it was riddled. It was riddled with everything that I did not believe that my talent should have been involved in. So I was like, you know what? She can have it. I don't want to run. And that gave me instant peace. The world hated me for, well, not the world, but a lot of people hated me for making that decision. And a lot of people loved me for making that decision. So,
Stood on business.
Yeah.
But is this before social
No,
media was big though?
so yes, I was gonna say that. So I think in today's world, oh my God. But then it wasn't as bad. Social media wasn't as bad. The comments weren't as bad. Instagram wasn't as bad. I think that that happened today because I think a lot of people were saying, "Oh, she's not a competitor. She's not a competitor. She doesn't deserve it." After all, But I think that you got lucky at the time, because if it was today's world, I think you probably had to deactivate everything, like get off all social media and stuff like that. But at first I didn't understand the decision, but when you explained it to me, I definitely understood. And when I saw what was going on, because you even had other Olympians in the background. I remember Michael Johnson talking about it in the lobby, and she was like, "Man, we know what's going on. That Nike threw that money at a certain person, and they want to make sure that they're there. They promoted the Olympics in a certain way." So, it was a crazy time. Crazy time.
add to this.
Okay, go ahead. Because I know you're not. Some of you guys are not saying. I'm trying to understand who this next person was.
So here's the thing that made it even more confusing. This person was my training partner. This person, we also represented the same country.
Oh, wow.
This person asked me to come train with this coach so me and her can be, just the year before, she's like, "Hey, can you come be my training partner? I think we would be a great match for each other." So she invited me to the training group. We had the same agent, and we represented the same country.
What country was this?
USA.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there's a lot of conflict of interest right there.
So there's Nike, there's USA, and Bobby Kersey. It's pretty much between me and Allison Felix. So I made the team. They said no, and I also decided to go back to my coach and back to my training environment and stay and run for USA and stay with Nike. So there was a whole lot of stuff that was happening. She is stupid. She is ugly anyway. She didn't deserve to make the team. She is not a competitor.
These are comments coming from
Random people.
Social media and everything like that.
Yeah, random people. News journalists. People were just talking stuff.
But how did that make you feel though?
It hurt me. It broke my heart because it's like that's not me.
Right.
That's not me. If I made a decision that brought me peace, then who are you to kind of talk down on me? My parents were bad parents because they didn't force me to do anything. Mind you, the moment this happened, I called my coach, and my coach was the one who said, "That's politics. She's not going to want to be involved in this." And then afterwards, he became dead silent.
silence. Wow.
Because the money, the cash cow, man. Follow the money in sports.
So,
Follow the money.
and I was told if I said anything, I would be blackballed.
Meaning she's not gonna go get invited to all the big meets. She's not gonna get the money and all that stuff. So
And my contract would be.
it's kind of like a situation with Kyrie. You know what I'm saying? How he's not on Team USA because you know why. You know what I'm saying?
Brown.
Or Jaylen Brown. You know why?
Jaylen Brown is not. And he
Definitely
said
deserve
at
it.
Nike.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So it's just she went through this 12 years ago. Similar.
Still going
Well,
on.
she could have went through it if she would have spoke up.
But if I would have spoken
Yeah.
up, there would have
Blackballed.
been more backlash.
But granted, she's not getting $300 million like those
This needs to
guys
be on a
are.
Netflix docuseries or something like that, because it's serious.
They need to have
me off.
They need to have ESPN 30 for 30 about that specific trial and that situation. Matter of fact, ESPN, I'm pitching to y'all.
Seriously, though.
Hey, this is my idea. I said it first. We said it. 3 Tribesmen podcast. Y'all need to have an ESPN 30 for 30 documentary about that experience. I think that would be a great episode.
The whole situation was very unfortunate because at the end of the day, it should not have been a decision between me and Allison. We should not have been the people who should have made that decision for who makes the Olympic team. You have state-of-the-art technology.
Right.
You guys made your decision, but you changed your mind. don't put the responsibility on us. That's
Right.
unfair because you're also pitting two black women against each other, which is extremely unfair.
Yep.
And it made it even worse because I'm dark skinned, she's light skinned, she's like the pretty person and I'm the new person. It's just so many things that they try to pitch us against each other.
Marketing, money.
Marketing, yeah.
And again, this is not we're not castrating. Oh, well, we can't say castrate. We're not. There's nothing against Allison. This is not on her.
No.
This is all on Nike and their decision and the politics behind Nike. Allison's. I know we met Allison. I've been in. She threw some Christmas parties back in the day. Great person, amazing person, sweetheart. This is not on her. This is about Nike and what they did.
Yeah, I'll never say anything bad about her. She is an amazing person.
Yeah.
I love her to death. So it should not have been between me and her. It should have been people up top making that decision, and they shifted the blame, they shifted the responsibility on us. So
Now, you got
Oh no, yeah, I was trying to move on to on a positive note. You actually have a gold medal.
yeah,
How was that feeling?
Man.
Like that. I mean, this is like I don't even know how to explain this.
Facts.
Hold on. Knowing Jeneba, those gold medals are probably in a box somewhere.
Oh man,
She
ain't
use it
hanging
as
like a trophy
it's a
out there?
coaster at their house. Knowing Jeneba, because that's how much she cares about.
Put it in
track.
my
It's
door.
a
You walk
coaster.
in, you gonna
It's
see that
in-
thing framed up.
Man, I'll be walking around the grocery store with that thing on.
Still have it on my neck like, nah.
We want to know where that gold medal is and how did it make you feel? I mean, you represent the United States of America. Jeez, come on.
it's in my sock drawer.
She said her sock drawer.
So it's not in the fishbowl or anything. It's in my sock drawer. And how did I feel? It was still a bittersweet situation because I initially made the team, so I was supposed to be on the relay, and they took me off.
Damn.
And there was a lot of drama behind that one as well, but they took me off, and
In the finals, right? They took you off.
in the finals.
What the heck is going on?
Yep.
Yeah.
What did you do? Who'd you piss off?
Politics, man.
I didn't piss anybody off. It's just when you cannot be controlled, they find a way to bring you down.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is that, and since we're on the topic, let's talk about it then. But if we're going to talk about it, Nike has done a couple of people wrong. And like you said, Kyrie, you said
LBJ today.
but
Yeah.
they also did your former teammate wrong also as well, because Allison Felix kind of got pushed away too once she got pregnant. Remember, she got pregnant and they really kind of tossed her to the side and was just like, do your own thing, which I thought that was a dumb move for Nike, because my thing is, you guys could have more so elevated her and her motherhood and everything.
They
You
trying
guys
to do that
could have made
now.
this up. Man, they're done.
They trying to do that
Nike
now.
stock is dropping like something crazy.
Oh, it's bad.
And I'm like, yo, and now, and if we never had this conversation, I would have never known this information. And who's to talk about all the other people that have the same
Similar
stories like that are on hush,
Or
and they
don't have a
say
voice
anything.
like Jeneba or some of these other people don't have the same voice, or like it's just like Jaylen Brown and Kyrie and them.
Now,
So, yeah.
now, having all this happen, good, the bad, and the ugly, did this transition you into kind of a therapy work or?
No, I've always wanted to be a therapist.
Yeah?
It's always been a passion of mine. I remember in high school, I had a friend whose parents or father was abusive towards her. I was like, yo, let me pick you up and we're about to go to the park. Like, I was already doing my social worker stuff in high school.
Wow.
So mental health therapy, psychology has always been a passion of mine. So after track, I just gradually I went back to school.
Your passion.
And I got my degree because that was my passion. And on top of that, like, I'm a female, I'm a woman, you know? If I keep on running, like, when am I going to start my family? And to me, one of the most important things is my family. It's starting a family. That's important to me. So I didn't want to be on the hamster wheel of track and field. I wanted to start a family and I wanted to start a career. So I left. And it was the best decision I've ever made. And they still try to come for me, y'all.
For real?
They tried to say that I was on drugs. No lie.
Boy,
No lie.
we need a 30 for 30 like Brad said. Like this is.
Crazy.
30 for 30.
No lie.
Hey, I could executive produce.
Hey,
I was there.
we could just do
Interview
it.
me.
We could just do it and then sell it.
No, so
Facts.
this is what happened. Y'all remember COVID?
Yeah.
Y'all remember all those fires we were having?
Yep, in
I'm
Cali.
asthmatic, so I had to take a puff of an inhaler. They were still drug testing me 2 years after I stopped running.
What was the purpose of that?
I would
Exactly.
have told him, maybe don't
Get the hell out of here.
Man, listen, I'd open the door with a shotgun.
I'm confused as to why you
I
were no
was still
longer.
getting
You weren't
drug
retired
tested.
yet. Is that why?
I didn't sign any papers for retirement.
Okay.
But
You're still an
I
athlete.
have not been on a field, and there's so many other people who have not been on a field and they never got
You're
tested.
trying to
Is
take
that
something
a
away
way
from you.
Is that a way to cover their ass on the back end of some sort, like to be?
Is that a way to
People believe
resign
that. I
something?
don't know. I called my agent. I told him, I was like, hey, they said I tested positive for an inhaler that I used that they are going to make legal in 6 months.
There was another. I think there was another. I think there was another athlete that tested positive with an inhaler. I can't think of the name, but that's crazy though. Like if it's an inhaler, that's insane. Like so, I'm supposed to just like
Die.
choke to death and die because I don't want to test positive. Like that's insane. That's
Yeah.
literally insane.
Is this Nike or USA?
So it's USA.
USA track and field.
I know,
it's
but
all
who's-
it's all cahoots though. It's all cahoots. You know what I'm saying?
That's wild.
Nike, when it comes to sports, dude, Nike is the head honcho, man. They got their finger on everything.
I mean, there's a reason why I would wonder. Like, I mean, I'm a big basketball guy, so I was like thinking about basketball. Like, Kyrie Irving is the better point guard on that whole. Like, besides Steph, you got Drew Holiday instead of Kyrie, and then you go to what's his name, Derek White, over the Finals MVP. Like, what's going on?
3 of his teammates are on that team, and he's not.
And he's the best player on his team.
Politics. For sure.
Politicking, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the transition. Let's talk about you going into therapy. One of the last episode we had, we talked about polygamy, right? So we want to talk about, marriage and relationships and everything like that. Have you ever come across, and it could be yes or no. Have you came across any kind of marriages where that's acceptable, like in the U.S.? I know it's not legalized, but like these relationships or whatever the case may be, where it's like a polygamous form going on.
In business with my clients, I've never come across a couple that said that they would like to engage in polygamy. However, with my family, many of my uncles believe in polygamy. My grandfather was polygamous. So yeah, I have experience with men who believe in polygamy.
So how was it growing up though? Did it because my grandfather was in a polygamous relationship. My grandmother was the first wife. He had a second wife. But as a child, I didn't see nothing different of it. I'm like, yo, that's my grandmother, that's my grandma, and I just seen it until got a little older. I'm like, why nobody else family look like my family? Like, what's going on? So was that something that was even an issue for you growing up?
No, because my grandparents were still in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
But they also passed away when I was pretty young.
Okay.
So it wasn't much of an issue for me, but the hard part was the effects of polygamy. So like, although my grandparents were not there, the effects of all my grandfather's children, that was still very rampant, and there's division between some of these siblings because of polygamy. And I think the idea that like a lot of men believe women are okay with polygamy, but it's an economic thing. Like, if you have no
We spoke on
rights,
that.
if you have no food to eat, of course you're gonna be like, well, what's up, honey?
Yep.
What you doing?
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Facts.
Exactly. So, yeah.
We definitely love that perspective because we did discuss this a little bit in length on our last episode where we talked about like, because my father actually had several wives. Like, he's Muslim, but we were talking about like it's so normal, like in Africa, and it's actually very interesting that someone from another country besides Nigeria is actually saying, yeah, this was like. I don't know if it's probably still being practiced today. It looks like it's so common in Africa, like we just grew up, but the effects are still lingering, like division amongst either the wives,
siblings,
the
Yep.
children, and then the will. There's so many wills out there right now that people
That's
are
where
like,
the problem comes.
some men don't even leave wills.
Yeah.
And it's like because they don't want to leave a will. It's like y'all figure this thing out because I can't say you get a
Disrespectful.
I can't do that. Like y'all figure it out. And
that's a great
the
point.
division that comes from that. There's also pros because now you have a lot of family members. Like if you ever marry outside, if you're like an African person marrying like someone from America, when your wedding comes, your family is going to be the entire row, probably some of the other person's row too, because there's so many of us. I have a big family. You probably have a big family too. Do you have a big family?
Yeah.
We are everywhere. It's just so common. But in America, right? So polygamy is not common out here. And because it's not common out here, I don't know how do you explain that to people here? Like, do you say like, Because you know it's not allowed. It's just not allowed in America.
Marriage-wise.
Marriage-wise.
That's what I was going to say marriage-wise, but we also had to view it from like, there's several perspectives, because there's a male perspective of polygamy and then there's a female perspective of polygamy. But then if we're talking about what's okay in the States, I think polyamory is something that we definitely should talk about, where you have more than one lover, you know, and all parties agree to that. I am not opposed to people who believe in polyamory. I think that's an amazing thing. As long as everybody is 100% on board,
Facts.
you do it.
Right.
And that was not really the case for polygamy. Not everybody was on board. Some people really had to do it for
I
economic
love that
reasons.
perspective, though.
Okay, so polygamy is one part of marriage and relationships. Another big conversation and topic within that scope or realm is this 50-50 conversation, right?
Oh, that's been a hot topic.
That's a hot topic, right? So
Tell me you've heard about this.
So,
please.
Oh, of course.
so
Yes.
so my question to
Good
you,
job.
my question to you, you being and I want everybody to kind of give their take on it, but my question to you, you being a marriage and family therapist or in that realm of things, is that something is that a conversation that comes up during these therapy sessions? Like, man, he or she's not holding up their end of the bargain as far as, he's not able to cover the bills. I got to work. Then he wants me to come home and cook and clean. Like, how
And
is that a big
personal
issue?
perspective?
What's your personal perspective? How do you operate in that realm too, personally, if you want to share?
I don't work with couples, so I can't speak too much on like what one couple would say. But what I can say is, all the men that I have interacted with, and I've spoken to them about 50-50, the men say, what the fuck is 50-50?
Yeah, facts.
We just don't.
The
we're not used to
men
that
say
growing
that,
up.
yeah. A lot of males, younger males or boys, they would want the 50-50.
American
So
boys.
the men say what the F is that, and the younger boys are saying 50-50. So it's a
50-50.
generational thing almost.
Well, when I say men, it's not necessarily generation, it's a maturity thing.
Yeah.
Maturity thing,
Yeah.
gotcha.
It's a maturity
Okay.
thing, because there are younger people who don't believe in it, but their mind is that of a mature man who wants to take
Okay.
care of his family, who wants to provide and finds pride in that. But we also live in a day and age where rent is like $5,000.
Right.
That part.
So
Right.
I understand people wanting to, share
Yeah.
the economic load, the responsibility. That makes a lot of sense.
Facts.
But if you want to share that, then you have to share everything.
Yep.
You can't just be like, well, what's for dinner? Like, you have to know how to take care of yourself.
But
So what about the women? Like, do you talk to women at all about that? Do they ever bring that up at all?
We don't, we're just like, what man wants 50-50?
facts.
Gotcha.
That's how I feel, and that's just I think growing up in a African household. My father paid all the bills. Of course, my mother, she works, she's a nurse and everything, and I know she contributes as well. But I think it's a pride in being a man and being able to do such. Now, don't get me wrong, like you said, because of the world we live in now,
Right.
things are different.
Right.
Now, if you can't pay 100, it is what it is. Sometimes, guess what? If I can at least do 60,
Right.
and you can cover 40, and that work for y'all,
Right.
perfect.
fine,
That's
yeah.
perfectly fine.
I think that's the same perspective I have. I think just do what's best for your relationship. I think, in my opinion, every man should be wanting to retire or give her the option. I shouldn't say retire. Give her the option to whether or not she wants to work. Because some women genuinely want to work, right? Or give her the option to want to stay at home and take care of the household. I think it's do what's best for your relationship. If your relationship, and you guys both agree upon this, your relationship requires, the woman to put in 30%. Like, to me, I can't go 50-50. I got to be paying more at least. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
I have to pay more. You know what I'm saying? But if you out there and you're going to lose the home, and this person is capable of putting 50-50, and y'all about to lose the home, then do what's best for your relationship.
Facts.
In my opinion.
This got to be cultural, man. Because I keep going back to, I grew up in Nigeria, just so you know that. And this is so common that a husband was provided for the entire
Right.
family. Now you come to America and you see how it is. It's not easy to go 100% as a man in America. Like you just said,
It's
the
difficult.
bills, man,
Yeah.
rent, even in
It's not
California.
easy.
Especially in
Let's
California.
start
Let's
Yeah.
talk about
California.
like
It's not easy.
If I'm paying $5,000 in rent in California,
if I had that same 5,000 in Nigeria, you ain't got to worry about nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we
Right.
good.
Very
Like,
true.
I ain't even got to spend all this 5K a month on
Hey,
rent.
not even Nigeria. It could be Mississippi. You don't got to worry about nothing.
So that's what I'm saying. So I think it's just because of where we at
Right, where
today
we
and all
at.
that. Like, it's just different. Like, my father, like I said, had several wives, and he was able to take care of all these wives at the same time. None of them worked.
Yeah.
None of them had a job.
Yeah.
But he provided for them. And we were saying earlier, being polygamy, it's like it's his. It was allowed in the country. It was not illegal. His culture accepted you can have 4 wives as long as you took care of them equally.
Equally.
That part.
Which was okay, and he was able to provide. I told him, like they said, I think that the question was from one of them, and they were like, "How was it growing up? Did you feel any?" So I honestly lived a great childhood.
Yeah.
Every woman cooked. I knew I ate every day. Didn't even care who cooked the food. I just know every wife in that household made food for all of us. All 20 kids, we all ate great.
Yeah, that's
like.
good.
We didn't even know. I thought it was normal. Pops, okay, this is just one of the women. I know you're not my mama, but
Auntie.
you're something. But either way, it was still a loving household, right?
Right.
But credit to my pops. I don't know how he was able to. Everybody ate his kids.
Right.
All his wives ate. Everybody was good. We were all good. Now you do that in America,
It's way too hard.
Now,
it's not possible.
Now, if you are going to like even if you are going to like somehow give some of the responsibilities to the women, like if it's 70-30, I think like you mentioned before, it can't be a situation where she's going to work an 8-10 hour shift and she's coming home and she's cooking and cleaning and everything.
Yeah.
You need to participate, bro. You need to get in the kitchen sometimes. You need to help the kids.
You just gotta find a way
You
to
gotta
do
find
more, though.
Yeah, you
You
gotta
gotta
find a
do
way to
more.
do more. You can't just be you can't come home, sit on the couch, watch TV, play video games. Absolutely not, bro. Like that's that's not your slave, all right? You know, or I don't want to use the term slave, but that ain't, you know, she ain't your maid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's not your maid, bro. So you need to step up in that manner too. If you are going to be splitting some sort
But
of
that's why I believe in gender roles, and I make that clear from day one. Like, yo, I believe in gender roles. Like, yo, as a man, this is what I believe. I'm gonna ask you first. What do you believe your role is as one? And then I'm gonna tell you mine. And if they match, then cool, perfect. Then we're kind of on the same wavelength. But yeah, that's why I think I'm very big on gender roles, because it establishes exactly what I'm looking for, and we don't have to play the Mickey Mouse games back and forth and everything. So that's how I feel about that one.
Let's flip the script a little bit. What if the higher earner in the household was the wife, right? What do you still feel like you should be the one still providing as much if she's like, say she's the one making the most money? She's an actress, she's an athlete, she's making bread.
I think because a lot of people feel like a lot of people will go around, and everybody give me how they feel about this. A lot of women are going around saying that I make all this money, blah blah blah, this and this and that. I think it's about how you make him feel. Regardless if you make a bunch of money, how do you make him feel? Just because you make more money than me, when we go out, do you still allow me to feel like a man? You understand?
Every man gonna be hurt by that though.
But how? Why?
Most men just have ego. It's
Man,
probably what it is.
I've seen, but that's a personal problem. That's something you need to handle. That's something you need to take and handle with yourself. That has nothing to do with her. That's not her problem. My thing is, I've seen it to where women make more money than the men, and they will never shame him in public, regardless if it's to take the credit card and slide it underneath the table or whatever, and allow him to pay, because at the end of the day, he still has to feel like a man. You understand what I'm saying? She understands that. Now, it's some women that will go around and say the total opposite and boast about it.
Right.
Man, I got this big education, I got all this money, such and such. And most men don't give a damn about that. Like that. And is that something you've came across before, where the dynamics kind of change? It's kind of reversed.
Where the woman is the breadwinner?
Yeah.
No. Well, yes and no. For a while, my mom was the breadwinner in our household, and she was not that. Like, she was even helping my stepfather pay his child support at a point in time. So she was the kind of breadwinner who was like, okay, I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna do all this work, and I need you to like come up on the areas where you've had your shortcomings. So my experience is, and I hate to say it, but this is the experience for a lot of African women in America. We be doing a lot of shit. Like,
I'll give you that.
a lot of African women, a lot of my aunties, whenever I'm at the house, the aunties are working their asses off. They're going to work, they're coming home, they're cooking, they're cleaning, they're taking us out, they're doing whatever they got to do for us. And my uncles, they would go to work and come home and they would chill. And the aunties were the breadwinners. So if ever I wanted to come over, my uncle would be like, well, ask your auntie. Ask your auntie. So she was really like the man of the house, if we're talking about providing.
Right.
You know, but then they never, ever, my aunties did not make these men feel less than. You know, and I think that's something that's very common from my African culture that I've experienced. The women work their asses off, and they can be the breadwinner, but they'll never allow the man to feel as if he is insignificant.
That respect has to always be there. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
In every relationship, that respect for her respect for you.
Yeah.
That's the 50-50.
I've never seen an African household that was not like that, where the woman
Yeah.
made the man feel insignificant. With my aunties and uncles, and I grew up with a lot of family who were married, and I've never seen that.
Okay. So let's transition into something else. So another part of your newfound career is the therapy side. And we've had conversations off mic about therapy and mental health in the African community, or the lack of, where there's absolutely no mental health. Like I think I saw a meme. I think I said it to y'all. It was a meme. Like I told my mom I'm depressed. He said, I told my mom I'm depressed, and she said,
You will not be depressed in the name of the Father.
yeah, she said you can't be depressed in the name of the Father. Like, there's no depressed. There's no such thing as depressed. There's no such thing as mental health. Like, there's no, like, that's not even, like, you better, I don't want, you better stop acting soft, basically. Like, there's none of that. None of that stuff goes on. There's no kind of therapy. You can't come to them about none of those mental health diagnoses, because they're not having it.
It might be a joke, but I am not going to lie to you. I have never even tried to look for a therapist. I just don't even know how to, for one. I don't know about y'all fellas. It's just not even my siblings have ever seeked out for a therapist. Being a Nigerian that grew up in Nigeria and then coming to America, I felt like this therapy thing was all American. It just seems, I'm just giving you my experience. It's an American thing.
I understand.
We don't discuss this back there. We go see a pastor. You stressing? Pastor. If you're going through anything, pastor. We'll pray for you.
Yep.
I tell my mom about my business. I'm like, yeah, business right now is slow. She's like, oh, you got to pray. I'm talking about, I got bills.
Is that not a form of therapy also? He might not be a licensed certificate therapist.
Everything is
but
to God in prayer.
Is that not therapy?
Everything has got to pray.
You need God and you need a therapist.
Yeah.
Speak on that though. Why we don't. It's not like a thing we discuss. It's like a taboo to even discuss about seeing a therapist. It seems like you're a crazy person even talking about you want to go see a therapist.
Have you ever came across any Africans come to you for therapy sessions?
I did come across one, and she did not want to work with me anymore. And I came across another one, and we clicked. But to touch on like why Africans don't do it, I think Africans have a different struggle than Americans do. And a lot of times Africans have gone through, I hate to say it, a little bit more than what we would consider like what our American counterparts go through. So like what they go to therapy for, we're like, it's not that big of a deal, So like they'll go to therapy for infidelity. Well, polygamy
We're used to that.
They'll go to therapy
real.
because they were abused. Well, my form of punishment was, go in the corner and do some pumps, go do some physical exercise,
Yeah.
That's a good point, man.
So like what we go through is completely different from what they go through. I think one thing that should be touched on is like case management stuff, meaning like basic resources. Now that right there would fend better for like a lot of African communities versus like treatment for depression. This person ain't got no food to eat. This person is dealing with basic needs. They got malaria, and the doctor is not going to treat them until we give them the money in the hand. Like, okay, well, if I give them the money, then the malaria will be gone, then they would feel better. No mental health issue. So like, I think the case management and the basic resources is something that we would target more for African countries before we can even touch on the mental health stuff.
Have you ever thought about opening some sort of practice in Sierra Leone that's surrounding mental health, or trying to somehow engage with that country about that?
Yeah, I have, but then because the basic resources are so scarce, it's going to be hard to get into mental health.
Who's paying to go see?
Yeah.
I'm being
Even if it was a free service, though.
Right.
Even if it was free, nobody got time for that.
It's you have basic needs that need to be met before.
You even go try.
Well, we did mention before that the world is changing, right? Africans are starting to get influenced by the Western world. So this may be another. It may not happen now, but another 10 years, they may start to seek this type of stuff, right? Another 5 years or so, they might start to seek that type of, service. Go ahead.
But what you're saying is has truth to it, but I think Jeneba said it, but let me try to, because it's about the resources.
Right.
The people that need the people that need it don't have the resource to get it. Internet, Wi-Fi, computer is not accessible as it is everywhere else.
Right.
So even if I said I have free Zoom call meetings, we can do
Right.
such and such, how many people can actually have that resource to have that done? How many people can make that phone call? It's different. Like I said, the struggles that are in Africa are different from the struggles that are in America, and it could be so limited for us. I mean, limited for them but for us, we'll make it a big deal. But I'm
Right.
like, yo, they don't have the bare
Got
minimum
insurance.
of certain things, and people that do have the money, they kind of much chilling right now, bro. They really chilling, living
Entertainment.
life.
Well, I think we talked about it when Kojo was on the episode, and I genuinely think that Africa, and if you listen to Earn Your Leisure, shout out to them. I genuinely think that Africa is what India potentially was 20 to 30 years ago, and how much it started booming. So with Africa booming, you probably will start to see that infrastructure come in to where everybody has energy, power, where everybody has internet. It's just, I mean, isn't Elon trying to do that world global internet where it's access everywhere? Well, I don't know how that's going to go, if that actually comes to fruition, but I think that at some point, I think we will start to see everything. And when that occurs, at that point, will we start to seek these services like
Brad,
mental health
you live
therapy
in
and all
America.
that?
Africans in America still don't go see therapy. I don't know. It's not about resource. I'm sorry to say.
So you think it's not about resources?
No,
You just think it's just it's a
we
cultural
just-
thing.
How do I put this?
I think they look at.
I don't even know how to go see one because I don't know what I'm supposed to even be talking about. People say go talk.
Hey, that's
I don't
my-
even
that's-
know what I'm
that's
supposed
my
to do.
thing.
And that's another thing. That's the cultural part of it. Like, we don't just talk to talk.
No, what are we talking about?
But we have to realize that psychology and therapy is a very white European-centered base, and it's a wealthy white center. That's where it started from. How could we relate to that? It's individualistic.
Right.
We heal through community. As Africans and as Black people, we heal through community.
Oh, that's so deep.
So, like, I can't go to you and tell you my problems. No, I want to connect with my family, and then I want us all to come together. Like, have you guys noticed that whenever there's a problem, you go to the elders of the family?
That's just how it's always
and
been.
then they come collectively,
Yep.
and that's where the healing occurs. Well, that's kind of how therapy has to take place for the African families.
So maybe we are getting therapy. We just don't. I see what you just
We're-
said there.
we're getting
we are
it.
getting what we need
In a
But
way, in a
in a
form.
different way,
Yeah.
in a different form. That is
yeah.
true. Because I call my mom when I'm going through things, or call my uncle who's very knowledgeable. I call even my siblings. That's just like you said, family. That's our community. I don't go pay somebody because the mentality is, I'm not paying you nothing, Joe. Why am I paying you? When I could just talk to my mom, and I feel like my mom just healed me just from a conversation. I'm like, oof.
Yeah.
So crazy. I don't call anybody.
Why?
I don't.
You see what I'm saying?
I just
You
be
deal with
chilling. I just deal with it and I figure it out. But I think I do that because it's nothing that's like I feel like I can't handle. Nothing that's too crazy to where I don't think I've ever been to. Like, my life has been very drama free and peaceful, to be honest with you. Like, that's just
Grateful
how
to
I
God.
feel.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything that's ever been in my life that
That needs it.
needed it.
Yeah.
The closest thing is my senior year when I was ineligible to play football. Boy, I was hurt. I was hurt. I think that's probably the last time I cried, bro. Like, I was really hurt because they was like, no, you can't play. Because I transferred, stupid California rule. I transferred and they found out I didn't live in the area. And they were like,
Damn.
nope, can't play. You know what I'm saying? I think that's like the last time I felt like I was like really, really sad. You know what I'm saying? But outside that, and you look back at it, that's kind of silly. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
But
she just you hit a
that's-
lot of points today. Though. I'm not gonna lie to you with the whole like I'm just thinking right now like, man, that is so true. First of all, with the community at home, and then second of all, just knowing that. I mean, we just don't. We get forms of therapy from like obviously like we just said home again, but like it's like we just. It's just not common.
right.
We just don't do it. It's not common. Have you seen it? I mean, I don't know. You might have.
I've seen a therapist, but what's funny is that I'll literally walk in, and the only reason I did it is because everybody's just like, you should see one. So I'm like, let me see what this is about.
That's why.
Everybody's like, let me see what this is about.
Funny.
So
But that's the only reason why I don't want to see one too.
Like some trendy stuff.
What we talking for an
I
hour?
literally sat down and she looked at me. I looked at her. She's like, what you want to talk about? I said, ma'am,
don't know.
I do not know. I said, I'm here because everybody says you should see one, so
I can't
I'm here.
see that.
And it's a
Enlighten
part
us.
of my benefits.
What,
so let me
what
use my
is the
benefits.
purpose of going to see a therapist, even if you don't have, like he said, he had a carefree life. Now, if he was coming to you for an hour,
Right, because so many people say like, oh, you don't need a therapist only when you're going through something. But like, what do you want me to talk about?
but I've heard people say you can go see a therapist and literally just.
Yeah, and just talk.
Well, it definitely can be an educational situation. Because just now you said, that's the last time I was sad. And I was like, well, with me, what I do with my clients, and I put out an emotional wheel, and I say, okay, what feeling are you feeling? I feel, and they describe all these feelings. Okay, well, you just said you felt sad, right? What does sad feel like to you in your body? When you are sad, what are the thoughts that come to your mind? Let's make that mind-body connection so you know when you're sad. Because sometimes we don't even know what feelings we're having, what we're experiencing. So we just be like, well, I'll deal with it. We can't even put a name to our feelings. So how could therapy help? It'll educate you. Psychoeducation. Just know what you're feeling. You know?
The feeling I had, I was angry. I wanted
was
to
angry.
punch. I already know the guy's name, Paul Bright. He was Paul Bright.
It's
That's
a
the guy
therapy
that told me
session
I
right
couldn't
now.
play.
Yeah.
I was mad, bro. I'm still.
Why were you mad, Brad?
mad? Bro, if I see him today, bro, I don't know if he's
Oh, you still holding
I don't know
trauma?
if he's still alive though, because he was like he was up there when I was in high school. That was over 20 years ago. So, but yeah,
You still
that
holding
guy.
that trauma on you, bro?
You're still holding on to that.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I really don't care at this point. Everything happens for a reason. You know, I was happy with the way my life, ended up in the way it went and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the guy's name. I can't forget his name. I will never forget his name.
That meme you had shared with us, right? You said the meme was like when you talk to your mom and you're like, Mom, I'm depressed, and she's like, we have food in the kitchen. That food in the kitchen
Facts.
most of the time is jollof rice.
Yeah, I gotta eat that again.
We gotta transition into jollof rice. I've never had Sierra Leonean jollof rice. I've had Ghanaian jollof. I've had obviously Nigerian jollof. Can you tell the difference?
I've never had any other jollof rice apart from Sierra Leonean.
Wow.
I know. So
It's okay. I just had Ghanaian jollof recently for the first time, and I'm like, that's my first time
you've
trying
never-
anything besides Nigerian jollof.
You'd never been to an African wedding and they were serving and it wasn't Sierra Leone. It was like Nigerian or Ghanaian or something.
I've only been to Sierra Leonean weddings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I just went to my first Ghanaian wedding.
My mom is half Nigerian, so
Talk to us. I didn't know that.
My sister.
Yoruba. So I've probably had some,
All right.
Yoruba influences.
Let me ask
in
you
my
this
dishes.
last. Let me ask you this.
Making Nigerian food.
You're on the topic of wedding. I was so mad and disappointed. Well, not really mad and disappointed, but I was disappointed because your wedding, I got invited to, and it got caught out because of COVID. Mm-hmm. Were you planning on having like a traditional wedding? Like, were you gonna have the same?
It was gonna be a big ass wedding. My mom, I was like, I only want to invite 150 people, and my mom was like,
150. Jesus.
She's bringing 150.
my mom was like, no, let's make this 450 people.
No, that's facts.
So fortunately, COVID
You were gonna
happened.
do it here in America?
She's African. That's the Nigerian part in it. 400 and something.
She said,
Yeah.
she said, fortunately, COVID happened.
Man.
Yeah, I was disappointed. Man. I really wanted to come. I was gonna come.
You were gonna have that in
turn up.
America?
Yes, in California.
Oh wow, bless your money and bank.
Right.
Because most of my family members, we go back home for the traditional. We have the white wedding here, and then back home. My sister's wedding had over 1,000 people.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't think that was
Exactly.
even a guest list. We just
That's
needed
what
more
happens.
security because people were trying to come in. You're talking about local people. Everybody's
Right.
trying to come in to the point that even people that were invited to the wedding were struggling to get in. That's
Yeah.
how busy and packed it was. And I always tell my friends in America when it comes to wedding, we don't have like, okay, this person wants fish.
Right. It's a banquet. And first come, first serve.
We don't do
A
none of
buffet,
that.
I mean.
Yeah.
Which means bring the powder down to this table. Bring some champagne here too. Hey, come here. Bring pan one here.
Right.
It's a feast.
Right.
We have weddings. Like it's a celebration of like, life is good.
Right. Facts.
When I get married, I probably go back to Nigeria and do it there just because I want to be able to like say everybody's good. In America, I can get it. You know, your wedding planner is like,
We only have 60 counts.
Well,
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna
have
tell you, if I get married, ain't nobody. I'm not having 100-something guests. That mother is gonna be 50, maybe.
We'll see
I
what
honestly
your
don't.
mom and dad say.
I honestly
Bro,
don't.
what you gonna tell their friends?
I honestly don't want a big wedding. I honestly don't want a big
Then you're
wedding.
not having a traditional
see,
wedding.
I'm not an attention person, so I don't want all this attention on me. I want this shit. I honestly want to be over and done with.
My guy.
Move on.
You think
and
my
that's
sister
it.
had 1,000 friends?
But in America though, that's not gonna fly in America. I'm getting married out here.
What I'm trying to say,
would have been 1,000, but it was.
So in African culture, we know this. It's not about you. It's
about your parents.
Come on, man. What are you talking
Your
about?
parents.
It's about them showing off that.
Okay.
Cross the milestone.
Exactly.
We got my
Y'all
job.
gotta understand. I do have 3 siblings that are all married, and it wasn't no gigantic wedding. It was a good. One of them was a destination wedding. One of them was my sister got married 2 years ago, a destination wedding. The other one got married 2 years ago, and it was probably about maybe 50, 60, 70 people. The other one probably less than that, 40, 30.
Ike is probably the most Americanized Nigerian I know.
Nah.
No, because the Nigerian culture I know, you're not like tapped in like I'm tapped in. And I'm like, it's shocking because I'm like, I thought all of us, we all went to, because you know, your moms went to the same like meetings or whatever. Your dads went to the same like, but I'm like, dude, you weren't tapped in like that because of, you guys were a little bit outside anyway. You guys were in Pomona. Everybody was in LA County. So I'm like,
I
it's
ain't
a little
never
bit-
been to an African wedding that was that small. Personally.
No, ever.
50? I'm bringing 50.
Well, mine was 40.
All right.
Wow. Well, that was during COVID.
Exactly.
Come on now.
Exactly.
Come on now.
Listen.
I mean,
I'm not.
bless your heart.
If they're not putting money towards it, they ain't
No,
gonna be
bro.
in it.
That's the secret.
They will put
They
money.
will put money into it.
I'm talking about act like before all that.
Nah,
Guaranteed.
Bro, you can make that.
Not
Listen,
just dancing.
I don't believe in that. I don't.
that's why I say you're
I don't
Americanized.
trust it. What I'm saying, I don't trust
You
it.
gonna
I
get
get
it.
I don't
I
trust
get
You
it.
need your sister's wealthy
this
friends
right
to
now.
bring all their friends.
I'm not about to go $150,000 in debt.
You're a good person,
Man.
So that money is gonna translate on that dance floor, bro.
All your
I
friends
promise
bringing
you.
money. I mean, let me put it like this: if you were to have a wedding, what's the percentage of Africans that are going to be at that wedding?
Well, I mean, shoot, I don't know.
2,
Probably about
5.
No. It depends on how many people we're talking about. Like if we're talking about 50, then it'll probably be 50%. If we're talking about 50 people coming, it'll
Not
be
your
probably
parents,
50%.
just based on your invitation alone.
Yeah.
Your friends. You have. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, when we do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about maybe 90% of people are not like from Africa,
Right.
and they're gonna spray you. Like we talk, and we mean spray like we. Actually, that's
Dollars.
becoming illegal now. It's actually illegal. Did you guys know that?
To spray somebody?
Yeah.
I didn't
People are
know
going
that.
to jail now in Nigeria. It's becoming illegal.
Oh, interesting.
Breaking news. Some people already know this, but that's wild because they feel like a lot of scammers are like using that to like, because you can say I made the money from
Laundering.
from my wedding, so it's becoming like it's,
So they
it's
can't
different.
tax it pretty much?
They're becoming very different. It's very different now. People are getting arrested. If you go to a wedding and they see, you can bribe Nigerian people, cops, but different story. But if you should look into it. I don't know why it's becoming, because that's our culture. Like people, even American friends, like, man, I hope is your wedding gonna be like this? I want to dance. No, it's my money.
Well,
But-
it's not even that part though, because like if you have a wedding committee, which most likely we'll have, there's going to be this auntie who's going to cater or get the food together and have a whole bunch of other
Yeah.
aunties making the food. There's going to be this person who's like, okay, well, I'll get the chairs. This person's like, I'll pay for the hall. So like, there's people who chip in. That's the collective.
That's facts
part
though. It's
of-
not all on you, man.
I still only want 50 people.
I get it. It's a lot to
It's not.
plan
It
as well.
don't have nothing. I listen.
300.
If I could just be married and not have to go through
Right.
that process, I would. I'm happy with that. I
That's
don't like
why I
that
said-
attention. I don't
I
want
get
all
it.
that.
Yeah.
That whole
Did you
day
hear
is
why I
just
said I wanted to have
nerve-wracking.
my wedding at?
What?
Not here.
Yeah, I know.
But that's going to
not
be even worse.
It's
There?
Yes.
Worse for who?
Do you think Nigerians in Nigeria are gonna come to the place with an invitation? They're gonna hear that you are American, and they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that's my cousin."
Yeah, but the Americans are coming to spray. That's why they're coming.
Hey, you
So it's not gonna be a small wedding.
No, I don't want a small
no,
wedding.
no,
She wants a big wedding.
Oh no! I'm talking about 1,000. My sister.
yeah.
It's gonna be big.
Never
remember when
mind.
DMX went to Africa? How it looked.
Oh, everybody looked like he was
that.
Jesus. He was
Just like
walking
that.
through it. Yeah, it was.
See, y'all
Have
want,
arrived.
y'all like attention there, but
It's
I'm
not
the
about
opposite.
attention. It's
I'm
about
opposite.
the family.
because
I have a big family. I just told you my pops got like how many
yeah,
kids?
well, yours is a little. Your circumstance is different.
No,
Your
it's
circumstance
normal.
is Definitely.
No, you're different.
No. What
It's
I'm
normal.
saying is your circumstance is different from his. Like you have a big family, like out there.
Yeah.
You probably
I
do
got a
too.
big- yeah, my
You-
grandfather had 17, 18, 17.
All right, so are you gonna have everybody from out there come here, or are you gonna go back there?
Why are parents?
I want to do it here, but if I can, bro, I do want to bounce back to.
Okay.
But you know me, I even want to be buried back home. So that's just me. I
Yeah.
just
So
have a tie
so
back.
what I'm saying is, so then unless you have everybody come here, how big is it gonna really be?
Well, we still have a lot of family here in
Bro, I
America
know a lot
too.
of people, bro. You know I know.
DC, Maryland, Texas. I can name where Atlanta.
No.
And
yours
that's
is-
just America, because there's people in Europe as well.
They still got to fly in too. Facts.
Well, I just want 50 people.
Still gonna turn up with that 50.
And
I
I
respect
don't
it.
want, I
Still
don't
gonna
want
turn
that
up.
much. I just wanted to have
Brad
it.
gonna hit you with you can have a +1.
Yeah, I respect it.
Yeah, that's it. You know.
Oh, I know we clocking in on time.
This was a good one.
Man, there was one question I wanted to ask, dude, and I know it's we're right on the tip, but let me see if I can. We spoke about femininity, being feminine. What is, and you said you spoke on trying to bring femininity to women, or bringing
like women tapping into
tapping into femininity. Can you speak on that real quick, if possible?
Yeah, a lot of times when I see women who, well, it started off when I met my matchmaker. Yes, I hired a matchmaker to meet somebody, and she told me that I was exuding alpha woman energy. So I had to kind of calm down and get rid of this independent woman energy so I can meet my husband.
All right, what is alpha women energy?
I can do it. I don't need no man. Never again. Ain't nobody gonna hurt me. Me.
And that, you telling me that didn't work?
That did not work for me.
What? Talk about it. Talk about it.
Was that matchmaker Kevin Samuels with you?
The matchmaker was amazing. I hired her, and I ended up meeting my husband in the meantime. So what she did was she coached me on how not to be so alpha womanish, and that saved my relationship. And I think that's the reason why me and my husband are in the position that we are today.
Now, this matchmaker, how do you, for people, because I know people are like, what is she talking about? How do you tap into a matchmaker, I guess?
So I hired one, and she was a white lady, and that didn't work. So she transferred me to this black lady. So that's how I met her. It was through word of mouth. So if you want to
Can we have another episode?
Matchmaker.
I
For
really
sure.
want-
We got to talk about this again
You're like,
because
she had a matchmaker?
this is a whole different
It's
podcast.
interesting because I mean nowadays, like you say, tap into femininity. I know we're kind of going over, but talk about tapping into femininity, and that's seen as like almost like a negative thing now.
So yeah, it is
And-
seen as a negative thing because
Right.
people think that feminine energy is, oh, she talks soft and she likes pink and she loves to play dress up, and that's the farthest thing from what feminine energy is. Feminine energy is healed energy.
Oh,
so
okay.
women who are loud, I can't stand a loud woman because to me that's screaming, I need to be heard. That's screaming, you were ignored as a child.
Mm-hmm.
So a woman who's in her feminine energy has healed that wound of not feeling heard.
Oh, nice.
That's feminine energy.
This is some good
She's
stuff.
exuding confidence, and she doesn't feel the need to raise her voice. She can just talk like how I'm talking right now and express her feelings.
All right.
Can we come?
we
might as
gotta
well
come.
you got to join the 3 tribes.
We're going to for sure. This is my camera right here. We are for sure going to have to do this again because there was a lot on the back end of that we need to get some more information. And I know your schedule is very tight, and we'll probably try to work something out again.
Yeah.
Just to let you guys know, leave comments. This is how we get information to ask later on.
I think we found our first reoccurring guest. That's gonna be her role, reoccurring guest. When we need to talk about these type of topics,
Bring it
I'm
right
giving her a
back.
call.
Please come back. Please come back on the show.
Of course.
Close it out.
And that's it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please remember to follow, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, 3 Tribesmen Podcast. Leave comments, likes. The more engagement, the better. Let us know what you guys want to talk about on the next episodes. And that's all we have today.
Let everybody know how they can get in contact with you, if it be Instagram, be it with your website or anything, if they want to tap in with you on a therapy session.
If you want to get in touch with me for a therapy session, just visit me on Jeneba Sylvia on Instagram. It's JENEBASYLVIA. And you can also visit well-play.com, and you can find me there as a therapist.
Perfect. It was
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
It was
Good
a
job.
pleasure.
Thank you much. That was some good
This was really
information.
fun, yeah.